welcome to the first membership presentation. I'm Catherine Battenhorst. I am an assistant governor third year, a member of the Rotary Club of St. Augustine, and this coming Rotary year, I will be co-chairing membership with District Governor Mike Darrah. So Mike, would you like to introduce yourself?
So I'm Mike Darrah. I will be a co-chair with Catherine next year for membership. I also will be an assistant Rotary coordinator, and I'll handle the north end of Florida, so I'll get a chance to see other districts. That's a zone job to do training and other things. And next year, I will be past district governor.
Yay.
So,
You get
Don't
to
look so
celebrate.
happy.
yes. So back to you, Catherine. Oh,
Yes, so, oh.
go ahead and
Yeah,
give
so
us the ground rules.
say that one more time.
Give us the ground rules.
Oh, yes, yes. So throughout the presentation, we are going to be using the chat feature. If you have questions or input, please utilize that tool. We'll address your comments as we can, and the chat's a great way for you guys to see each other's comments and then post questions as we move along. In this particular presentation, if you have a question for a specific panelist, if you would please list his or her name in your question. It's kind of interesting. We wanted just everybody to practice using the chat just a little bit. We also, we're going to ask what your favorite sports team is, and we've got some Purdue and Auburn in there, LSU, a little Alabama. So take a minute to list your favorite team in there. It doesn't have to be college team, but I'll put mine in there. Wow, we're getting a lot of stuff.
North Dakota.
Only one Grinnell. Lots of Knowles. Roger Federer. Oh, Marie. Is that because of his athletic ability?
Yeah, let's say that.
Let's say that, yes. I've got some swimmers who have excellent athletic ability too. Yes. All right, very
All
good.
right.
You guys are so good at using chat. Well done. Well done.
I
All
still
right.
can't get mine to work. So I'll manage it.
We're
I can't
gonna
get
walk-
mine to work, okay? I put down Patriots.
Very good, yes. So we're going to want to see this level of enthusiasm throughout our membership programs. And so Mike, if you would like to go ahead and start with the membership portion. He's sharing his screen.
There we go. And here is what our first session is. Our first session is an opportunity to hear 4 of the best clubs on 6970. When I talk about the best clubs, I'm talking about from a membership standpoint. And the numbers for membership are kind of like your income statement with a business. If your numbers are going south, it probably isn't pointing to a real healthy future. If the numbers are gaining, it's probably an indication that you're doing something that people like. So we've got 4 folks that are going to talk to you today. Each one will talk 5 to 6 minutes, tell you what their secret sauce is, what they've been doing, but just to give you an idea of who they are. First off, we're going to have Gary Williams, the president of Bartram Trail, talk to you. His club currently is 36 members. They've grown 50% over the last 4 years. And I knew this club as an assistant governor, and about 8 years ago, they were at 18 members and always struggling. So their club has come a long way and has gotten stronger and stronger. Next will be Roy Seeger from Flagler Beach. His club right now is 55. They've grown 38% over 4 years. Now, I've got the column over there about retention. The reason that we list retention is it isn't just attraction. Most people, when they think about membership, just think about bringing people through the door. The key is, do you keep your existing members and do you keep your new members? If you don't, you've got a hole in the bucket and you can pour in as much stuff as you want, but it's not going to stay there. So you've got to figure out and listen to these folks about not only how they attract, but how they retain. We've got two larger clubs. Teresa Harrington from Orange Park, a past president and has been the membership chair over the last 2 years. Current size with the club is 88. They've grown 15% over the last 2 years. Obviously, they started at a higher base, so it's a little bit tougher to get growth. They're 8% above average on retention over the past 2 years. That has certainly helped their growth. And I will mention, our district tends to be higher on retention, and that has helped us over the past 7 years to be a growing district. And finally, Tom Bryan with the Jacksonville Club. Large club. People said large clubs were dinosaurs. Jacksonville is not a dinosaur. It's grown 12% over the last 2 years. It's currently at 240 members, and it's 8% average in its retention, even though it's 240 members. When people say the club changes when it gets larger, they're correct, but it doesn't mean that they have to become less effective. So I will start off and ask Gary Williams, if you would start, and I'll keep track of where we are.
Hey, Mike, thanks so much. This is Gary Williams from Bartram Trail. And really the success we have starts with our members, our current members. So if we talk about what attracts new members, it's really the current members. They're a huge part of this. They share the good things that we do for giving back. They share social events and they share about great speakers. And then people come to see us. In the last year, we've gotten more active with social media, including Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google. And that's actually driven people to our club. We've had one new member join because he found us on Google. And other members have joined our club through our strong support of the Rotary Youth Exchange. We've historically had at least one inbound and one outbound student through Youth Exchange. And through that program, we've had not only exchange students, but parents of exchange students join us. So that's been good. The second thing is what our members need to get value. And what our members tell us is there's a couple of things that they want. Number one, they want a sense of giving back to the community, which we do quite a bit. They want a sense of fellowship across different generations of members. We have a little bit lower average age club, although we're not down in the 30s, we're up in the upper 40s, low 50s. So we've got it across multiple generations. And they want to find a way to get to know people and find ways to contribute to the community. And then there's some of our new members that actually find value in generating new business relationships, which is kind of the old Rotary model. But really for our club, it focuses around fellowship and giving back to the community. Those are the big things. And then the third area that I'd mention is what's the process and culture that makes us a success? And there are a number of things. We've got strong leadership and people willing to take on responsibilities. We've added more women to the club in recent years. And quite frankly, I personally believe the women make us ever stronger than we could have been without them. They've been great. We have a strong speaker schedule. We're booked out through the end of June already, and we've been booked out through the end of June since last fall. So we've got a really strong speaker schedule that makes a difference for people. We do social events that involve the whole family. It's not just something for the Rotarians. We do events that include spouses and children, and that makes it a lot of fun. And we participate and support a number of multiple community partners. Just in the last year, we've worked with the Homeless Coalition of St. John's. We've worked with the Betty Griffith House. We're starting to do some work with the St. Francis House. So we've worked with a lot of multiple community partners. And the other thing that I'll mention is many of our members are engaged at a district level. Jack Murray is in our club. He's our AG1. Cassie Moyers is in our club. She's the district Rotary Youth Exchange chairman for the next 3 years. And we've got people next year that are going to be AGs as well. So I think for us, it's giving back to the community, current members being a big part of driving new membership in, and having that culture that focuses around fellowship, giving back, and having interesting events. And I will point out that I believe this year, since the Rotary year started, we've only had one member leave the club, and he technically will fit the rule of 85 or 8,500, however it is. He's been in Rotary for a long time and has really come to the point in his life where he just couldn't focus as much and needed to step back from Rotary. So we're maintaining our members as well. So Mike, I appreciate the opportunity to share a minute or two, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Wow, you come with your own theme music. That's pretty impressive. Gary, I mean, you've got the wheel behind you and theme music. You're jam up, buddy.
And I did it in less than 6 minutes.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Mike,
So-
before we move to the next person, we have a question, I think that's specific to the speaker.
So
Yeah.
family social. So for example, we would go out to an ice hockey game is one of the things we've done. We supported an event in Julington Creek called Dog Days Afternoon, where we are one of the people that are at Julington Creek Park.
This all really should have been done a long time ago, but they had a
Thank you, Sandra.
Anyway, that's what we've done.
So how did you get kids to come?
So another example is one of the things we do is we meet at Westminster Woods when we're allowed to meet, and we put flags up there 6 times a year, and we will bring family members' kids to come help with that. And it's really about the members inviting their kids and bringing them, and having events that do that. When we have our Rotary holiday party, for example, kids are welcome to come, and we have kids and grandkids that join. So it's really an open club. It's inclusive of whomever really wants to come from the Rotarians family.
Okay, so thanks, Gary. Roy Seeger comes from Flagler Beach. So Roy, tell us, what's the secret?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Like Mike said, my name is Roy Seeger, and I have the distinct pleasure of being the president for Rotary Club of Flagler Beach. And like Gary says, starting off, one of the questions said is, what our members need to get value, and I really feel that the most important thing is the fellowship. I think that is just key, and also also with the fellowship is that they want a sense of the belonging and be able to support our community, and that's what we do through a lot of our projects. I'm going to name off some of those projects down here too, and also. And to get value is to keep them coming back. They always want to come back to the meetings. Is really, I always think is to have good meetings. You have good meetings. You have punctual meetings. Not only beginning and ending the meetings, they need to be punctual, and also having great speakers. And one of the things I've learned as being president, and some of the things that we had a change in our cook this year for our breakfast, and it's actually caused some disdain a little bit. So we're dealing with that a little bit, but actually really important to remember sometimes is actually having a good meal too. So, and as we all have at our different meetings. So what attracts new members? Well, I think, first of all, we have a good base of members. So having a good base of members is, we think back, how did we start with Rotary? Who invited us? Well, probably a friend, or somebody we did business with. So these are like-minded people that like to give back to the community. So those are the kind of people that we are interacting with, both professionally and personally. So those people started we invite them to meetings and they end up staying. And I also think, and what a thing I'm going to go over, but yeah, attracting new members is we do a lot of projects, just like all the other clubs do. In Rotary, you do a lot of different projects and a lot of fundraisers. And these fundraisers, they help us get out there in our communities, and they help people. They get to know who we are. And so we have a lot of high-profile projects in our community that we do. The biggest one is the Christmas toy drive we do, which does give presents to over 1,300 kids, monthly food distribution, surf camp for kids. So all these big projects we do, we also have a lot of volunteers that are not only Rotarians, but just friends of a Rotarian. And sometimes these volunteers, they end up joining up, becoming Rotarians when it actually can fit into their schedule and they can actually do it. Because we all know being a Rotarian, it's a big commitment to do it. And it's got to be a way of life. So you want to do it. Matter of fact, and that's how we've gotten several. We got one last year. We just started off this surf camp for kids, and a lady saw what we were doing, and she says, I was a Rotarian up in somewhere up north, and she's down in the area now. She saw this and she was looking for a Rotary Club, and we just fit her bill. So, and also, like I mentioned, doing the fundraisers that we do as well. We do a race and runway, cycle flagler, pickleball tournament, golf ball drop, all these different things that have us out in the community, and people get to know who we are. And again, when these people come and they're like, well, what is Rotary? What does Rotary do? What's this money go for? And that's when we get the opportunity to tell our story and what we do. And we've gotten several members from that as well. So, and I think also with the culture, or the process culture, and what I really think, what is the secret sauce to our club is that we always have fun. I mean, at our meetings, and Mike, you can attest to this. We are, you always say kids can say the darndest things. Well, so can our Rotarians in our club, and so we have a lot of fun all the time, lots of laughs, involving everybody. So, and that's what, and I'll leave it. And that's what we always do at the end of we don't have a 4-way test, we have a 5-way test, and we end it with, and have fun in all we do. And we truly live that. And we exude that everything we do, in our projects, throughout our community. So that's all I got. Thank you very much, Mike.
So I've got a question. You just tossed something out there right at the end. You said involving everybody. When I go to clubs, I see maybe 60% of the members there, and I wonder about the other folks. And how do you involve folks? Because I've seen that at your club where folks do feel involved. How do you make certain somebody's not sitting over in the corner?
Well, because one thing I always make the point as the club president to say hi to everybody that's in the room. Right. And I walk around in the beginning, and, and other members do the same thing. And one of the things that we just started off too, we started off as we just do it called a Rotary Buddy. We just split up that we have making sure that we have contact with everybody every week. So if I don't see, so my job is to call Sean Palmer, make sure you see how Sean's doing, if he's going to be at the meeting. So we're always making sure that, everybody's talking, everybody is engaging.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions there, Catherine?
There's a question from Karen Weiss from DeLand. She asked, did Roy put "have fun in everything we do" on their 4-way test banner? If so, how?
No, I didn't put it on the banner. They just know it.
All right.
Okay. All right. So moving on to our next speaker is Teresa Harrington. Teresa, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, from Orange Park. Have at it.
What do you want? I'm sorry, I'm just now joining the meeting.
Okay, Teresa, you've got 5 to 6 minutes to help us understand what Orange Park has done with their club in order to grow 12% over the last, 15% over the last 2 years. And your retention's 8% above average for all the clubs, which is pretty awesome. That means, just so people realize, if you've got 100 members in your club, that means you end up with about 4 or 5 folks that are there that wouldn't have been there otherwise each year. So what is the secret there, Teresa? Give us about 5 or 6 minutes if you would.
Okay, well, primarily in our club, what we are trying to do, can you hear me?
Sorry, that was the timer, and I thought I had figured it out so it wouldn't interrupt.
No
But
problem.
this time,
But we have found 3 or 4 different things that have really helped with our club membership. One thing is to really be out and be open to different types of memberships, different types of people, and different age groups. So when we say open to opportunities for people to come in that maybe have not been in our club before, we have also extended out a hand to those people that have been members in our club before. So we've recruited 4 to 5 people this year that were members of our club years ago that are back, and they're very active, and we really enjoyed having their expertise. They brought that back to our club. one of the younger people are coming because they are seeing our information online. And I believe that's going to be our biggest growth, probably will be being able to talk to some of the younger people that use the internet for all of their social needs. So we've got a lot of energy from that group. And then the other area I believe that has really helped us, of course, was the economy was doing very well. So there were more jobs out. So you had more people, you know, looking to connect with other professional leaders to grow their businesses. So I'm hoping that after this coronavirus issue is resolved, that we will continue to grow. I have 4 new members that we're trying to line up right now. I just signed up a new one today. You'll be proud of me. That's where I was. And I have 4 more that we've got in the process of being added to our memberships between now and the end of May. So I believe primarily where we're headed is just trying to reach out. I'm trying to reach out to everyone within the community, being open to flexibility. When I say flexibility, we have a Plan B membership that many other clubs do not have that allows the smaller business owner to join at a lower cost, and you pay for your meals as you eat them. You do pay an admin fee, but we have found about half of our new members are coming in under this program, and it gives them some flexibility. They like being able to go attend and have lunch somewhere else or breakfast or at a different club and not have to pay for the meals duplicate places. So I think all of those things, by us being open and looking for opportunities within our previous members, looking at opportunities within the classifications that are available to us as those get expanded, and just being able to also just continually respond. When someone shows an interest, I really do take an extra effort to make sure that I'm corresponding with them and staying in touch with them and getting them the forms and helping them make decisions on where they would like to be involved in the club. And I really think that makes a big difference, follow-up, just like any other job. This is crucial to keeping those people involved. But we have a great group and we have a great district, and I'm very proud of it. And so I think when people see what each group brings to their lives, they want to be part of it. And that's all I can share with you today.
I've got 2 questions for you. One is about your Plan B. And the second is, you talked about when people come in, you ask them where they want to be involved.
Yes.
And you put them in somewhere where they want to be involved first off?
Yes, definitely.
I thought when we did a fireside chat, we just told them what they needed to know.
No, what we do is we really try to match them up to what they're interested in. And I just love the energy. I really love the energy that the people are bringing, young and old. We've got some really great people that have joined this last year. Really in the last 2 years is when our attendance has really gone back up. And I do think it's because we have tried to meet their needs rather than us trying to say, here's where we need you. We've tried to do it reverse, saying, what can we do to help you meet what you want to do? And at the same time, make the world a better place, make the community better, make the international environment better. And I believe that's one of the reasons why we've been successful so far.
And one last question about Plan B. Plan B, as I recall, you all were kind of the traditional club, saying you pay for food up front and then you've got an advantage. If you go to all the meetings, that's great. If you don't, then that's more money left for all the rest of us. But you chose to not do that, yet structure the admin costs.
We charge a little bit more. We do charge a little bit for admin when you are a Plan B member. The young people the young professionals that are joining, they want the option to go attend somewhere else and then pay for their meals wherever that may be. So it keeps their costs a little more flexible.
Okay. All right. But if they do start coming, then it's advantageous to become a Plan A type member? From the-
Yes,
Financially.
definitely. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, any other questions, Catherine?
No, but there's some enthusiasm about the Plan B idea offering flexibility from Harrison Frazier. So thank you for sharing that, Teresa.
Okay, and Rosario, did that give you enough information?
Yes, although I'd be curious to know, like, how much do you actually charge for the administration?
Currently, we charge $40 more a quarter.
So what,
More than what?
That's in addition to our normal fees for the Rotary dues and the Paul Harris. We have the dues, we have the Paul Harris, and then we have the $40 admin fee. And then the meals, of course,
but then you back out the meal cost and let them pay the meals?
as they go.
Okay,
Hey,
And
Mike,
we-
can I add something to that?
yes.
Yeah, this is Dave Feraldo, and a member of that club and PDG. And I just want to say it's been a great plan because the $40 basically offsets the cost of missing one meal per month. So if a Rotarian is going to come in, they know they're going to miss one meal, they pay the $40 administrative fee and they don't feel badly about missing that meal. But the beauty of it is if they want to make up at the downtown Jacksonville club where lunch might be expensive, they can go there without having to also pay for the meal that they missed at our club. So it really works out great, allows them to go to other clubs and check them out. And there's no downside to it that we've been able to see in the last year. We love the Plan B.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Right.
We'll get other questions here at the very end here. Was there something else real quick, Catherine?
There was a question about encouraging attendance while incentivizing. How do they encourage attendance while incentivizing going to lunch somewhere else?
So Teresa?
Jim Agee.
Well, of course, the reason why most people, in my opinion, are a member of our club is because they want to be around other people that are similar to them. So if your club is representative, if someone that connects with you, if that member connects with your club, then they're going to want to come to your meetings. They're going to want to be at your socials, and so if they're involved, if they've been put into something that they enjoy doing, that they want to be part of, then you won't have any trouble having them come to your meetings regularly. It's just a
Okay.
matter of keeping connected with them, I think.
Okay, thank you. The next speaker is, and if you have other questions, we'll handle these after Tom speaks, but the next speaker is Tom Bryan from the Jacksonville Club. 240 members, grown 12% over the last 2 years, and once again, 8% above average on retention. So, Tom, tell us what's special and secret. Tom?
Thanks, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we got you.
Sorry. Well, first of all, we have a wonderful club with amazing members. I see some of the questions coming up are from our members, and I can tell you, the group that I'm the lead volunteer for has an amazing group of people from all different walks of life and fields. And so there's no shortage of great ideas and people who want to volunteer to help. I think one of the most important things, and I think the last speaker talked about it, is you really have to know who you are. So what's your club's most attractive feature? So for instance, with us, we're a downtown club. So it's heavily business, and we know that and we cater to that. Each club has different strengths and weaknesses, and we just look through ours and identified our strengths and tried to mitigate the weaknesses. When we started, and I actually started, I see Jim Agee's on the call here. He's one of our great members. He actually asked me to take over speakers along with one of our past presidents. And I did that about 2 years before I took over as president. And it was an amazing journey. And going through it, what I realized quickly was that we needed to make sure our members knew we wouldn't waste their time. My predecessor, Jim, did a great job of doing that, and Arnold Rogers, who is handling programs now, does the same thing. We are very focused on delivering a really great program every single time. Our club executive director, Sherry Combs-Omer, is fantastic, and we really do treat this as a party each time it's offered. So everything has to be perfect. The amount of planning and the time and effort that it takes to plan a party for over 100 people almost every week can seem daunting. But the great thing is we have amazing people who keep volunteering. And that's the other thing. How can you reach every single member as much as possible? And I was told when I started, it's pretty hard in a club that has 240 members. But when you break it down, it's really not. And I think it's something that falls on the shoulders of not only the president, but the entire leadership team. We have an amazing leadership team, and all of us are in constant contact with our members. We have a lady named Renee Parento, who is a wonderful photographer, and she is now taking it upon herself to make sure, I don't know if you knew this or not, but if you look in DAC-Easy, you'll see, DAC-DB, you'll see that 640 pictures, actually around 600, are missing from our district's roster. Well, what Renee is doing for our club is she's taking all the folks who don't have photos in the roster, and she's calling all of them. And she's putting them in, and that gives us a contact point during this time when many of us have moved to Zoom. I don't think any of us are meeting in person. That's the challenge we face, is if we're not together other than just Zoom, and we had over 100, we had 100 on our last Zoom last week, but we still need to have that personal touch because we are a large group made up of smaller groups. And so we need to make sure we're connecting with our members. I think it's important too that the clubs that are represented here are true successes in membership growth. One of the things I really wanted to do, if you've been to a downtown or Jacksonville Rotary meeting, you understand there's about a 50 to 70 foot runway from where you pick up your badge to the front door. And so what we wanted to do was to have a very good visual of our growth. So we're on track to put about 41 new members in our club this year. And we wanted that new members greeting line to grow from the front door to the badge box. So quite literally, when you walk up onto the foyer, there is a line of amazing people, many of them on this Zoom call now, who are greeting you. And that's important too. So it was a visual reminder of our success. And then another way we created success was we recruited what I call makers of manners. So those are people in your community, and we all have them, who are business leaders or leaders in whatever field they choose to pursue, but they're the best of the best. And when they do something, others follow. And that's why I call them the makers of manners. And so we were very intentional to recruit makers of manners or their best friends. So it makes it an easy sale when someone's best friend is already in your group. And we have a lot of amazing people in our group now that are makers of manners. So when you come to a downtown Rotary meeting, not only do you have a fantastic program, which is incredibly well run, but you have people in the room who are making decisions for our entire city and beyond. The CEO we had last week is a Fortune 500 CEO. He sits on the President Trump's COVID-19 committee, and he has operations all over the world. He runs a $5 to $7 billion company. So that's the kind of speaker program we deliver. And again, our goal is to not waste our members' time, but to give them something that they'll be thinking about all week. We were told also that meeting on Mondays was probably a disadvantage. We have found that that's not exactly accurate, because if we have sometimes 3 reporters showing up to our meetings, and it gives them a wonderful lead story to begin the week. And so often we'll see our speakers, our programs will get press coverage all week. And it's not surprising to have a speaker or presenter call me back and say, I cannot believe how much press I've received over the week because I presented at the Downtown Rotary on Monday. And that's, you know, that's our objective. We want them to be able to present to our 240 members, but we also want them to be able to project their message to 240,000 residents or beyond in the Jacksonville area. So those are a couple of things we did. They seem to have worked because our numbers are up, and we do. That's the final thing, and I'll leave it there. But I would encourage each of you to establish club metrics. You're not going to get anywhere successful unless you measure what you want to be successful in. And so we decided, we looked at across our administrations, and we decided to track membership. And as a result of robust membership gains, we received robust financial strength as a byproduct. The memberships brought us not only financial strength, but it helped us attract better programs because of the folks that were there. And gradually we've seen our attendance numbers go up so that we're over 60% at this point, which is a big barometer of success. So all of these things collectively help us with everything along the way. So just, you have to figure out where you want to be strong, and each club has a different look and a different focus. So I'm just telling you what our club is focused on, but each of you have to make the decision as to what your club will focus on. And again, our leadership team is fantastic, and it's multi-generational at this point. So we're planning things out several administrations from now, and have done so over the last few years. So in a nutshell, I think those are the keys to our success thus far.
So we do have one question, Catherine. It appears to be a repeating question. Catherine, did you notice we've got two questions that.
There are, oh, go ahead. Well, somebody said, Harrison Frazier said it's Tom's secret blend of herbs and spices. That's what they're attributing the success to. Maria Haynes says it's excellent programming is a strength for the downtown club. There was a question, do you still have assigned seating by your members? And there were a number of folks who said, no, that's not the case in the Rotary Club of Jacksonville.
We do not have assigned seating, but I will tell you, when I began many years ago, each table was spearheaded by someone, and if you sat at the wrong table, most people were very nice about it, but it was almost like being in a golf foursome that you weren't invited to, and that has changed over the years, and so now. People are very welcoming. Now, that being said, we do have a few tables that's the highlight of their week. Those guys and gals meet, and they know they can count on one another to be there. So there is accountability. There is strength in their bonds, their lifelong bonds. We have a member, past District Governor Henry Beckwith, who has 53 years of perfect attendance. So let that set in for a minute. He's been attending longer than I've been alive. And we're so proud of him. And he has what we call the Gator table. And those guys are together every week, and they're dependable. And if one of them is missing, the room feels a lot emptier. So they call each other, they rely on each other, and they love one another. And that's part of the strength of our club and truly, we do love one another. Each of us relies on the other to not only lead, but to be there weekly if we can. And I think that's why we're seeing our attendance go up.
Excellent.
Any other questions for Tom real quick?
There were some comments. Dean Scott indicated or just reiterated strong programs are very important, certainly in larger clubs, as Tom mentioned. And then Marie said, Jacksonville uses potential members category in DAC-DB, and that's helping with membership as well.
So the identification, sounds like you all have identified folks that you'd like to bring into the club at some point. Is that, Tom?
Yes, we're very intentional. President-elect Jerry Kelly had a list, and it's continued on. Jim Agee's taking that over now. We're very intentional about people we want in our club, and it's not unusual for several emails to be sent to the same person asking them to come. They do feel welcome. They feel included, and I think they feel loved when they come. It's when they come to the Jacksonville Rotary. In fact, I invited a guest a few months back when we were still meeting in person, and he said before he got out the door, he had 5 people asking him why he hadn't joined already. So that's the kind of openness we have, and we're all focused on that goal. We have no doubt we're going to get to 300 members. It's just something that we're moving toward, and we all believe is a reality. So at that point, we'll be working on issues relating to fire code and trying to figure out how to expand the space we're in. But we've got a pretty good trajectory at this point.
Interesting, because when you talked first off about your focus is business, and now you've identified those business people, same as if Flagler Beach is so heavily involved in the community, having a targeting of certain people in the community that they want to involve, or whatever that focus is. So I've got a quick question for each one, 2 minutes on each.
And Mike, there's one more question. Do you
Yes.
want from the chat? From Dottie Fort Wengler in Amelia Island. She asked, Tom, is there any cap on your membership by your board of directors?
None yet. We've discussed that. I actually think it might be, I mean, my thought is everyone wants what they can't have. And that being said, there is there's an interesting discussion around a cap. Right now, we're not at that point, but I would love to hear from clubs. I think there are a few that have established a cap with interesting, I think, positive ramifications. We're just not there right now. We think that we have room to grow because our list of potential members is pretty robust. So right now, we're not talking about that.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask a quick question for each one of y'all for 2 minutes. What is the biggest change this year that you instituted or that has come to fruition this year? So I'm not going to call out who has to answer that one first, but if you had to look at the biggest change that's helped this year and last year, what would you say?
If you want me to volunteer, Mike, I think we're talking about it now. I think the Zoom format offers amazing opportunities. We're going to have, we believe we're going to book an astronaut he's currently in Houston now, coming up, and if I'm correct, and Arnold can correct me, but I believe he's going to be on the next manned flight. We haven't launched a mission from America in the last 12 or 15 years. So instead of having to have him on a plane to Jacksonville, we can Zoom him at our Zoom at noon. And I think that's opening up some doors that we hadn't been able to think about before. So I don't think Zoom works in every instance, but it sure is interesting that now we can expand our thoughts to having speakers from anywhere in the world at different points in the year using Zoom.
Good one. You just gave me an idea for a district event we're going to have. Who else, which one of the speakers wants to chime in on what big change?
So Mike, this is Roy. So another big change to our group this year, with the increase in numbers, that we started a satellite club this year as well. So we started that, as you know. I think right now we're up to 11 members in that club right now. So that's been very vibrant, and we're really looking forward to that club, getting to that magical number 20 and becoming their own club. So that's been very helpful too in growing our numbers.
So that was somebody in your club that was living out in another area, or what was that kicked it off?
Well, there's just a need in Benel, and we wanted to, one of our members said, hey, why don't we start because sometimes, maybe they couldn't get to a morning meeting. So they said, why don't we start, one of the members said, why don't we start an evening satellite club over in Benel? And that's how it's grown.
Cool. Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
How about either of the others?
Hey, Mike, it's Gary. I'll jump in. We don't really call it a Plan B on fees, but we do some similar stuff. We've got lower fees for people under 30. And we've had a couple of members who have had extensive travel this past year or were gone for a year on a specific travel. And we've converted them to a leave of absence, which reduces the food fee for them, but they still pay their dues and stuff. And that's helped keep people engaged and active when we have events and so on and so forth. So honestly, I think it's about being flexible, talking to your members about what works, and questioning the rules that are out there that may or may be able to be changed a little bit.
Okay, Teresa, any that you want to finish up with?
Well, primarily is that I think you have to ask your membership to get involved. And I have found that this year and last year, we had a lot more members involved in recruiting people to come into our club. So back to being flexible, back to being intentional and targeted on what you're trying to do. So I think all of those things work together to make it a better group because more people are involved, and it just brings a bigger group to pick from, right? So I think that this year is going to be our best year net for 2020, 2021 will be our best year. And I think it's because you guys have brought in some really flexibility for us, especially without having the high attendance requirements.
Okay, we have one last quick question here, Tom. Do you have a budget for speakers?
As far as payment for speakers,
Yes.
we don't pay our speakers.
Okay, thank you. So thank you all four. I'll give you my quiet applause. I don't know if other people can see that. I'm going to stop the share here so we can see each other. We will have 2 more membership sessions. One will be immediately after this. And Catherine, I think you need to scoot over there. So if jump over there so we make sure that we have at least one person there when it starts. We have that one that we'll be talking about. Catherine, you want to describe that real, nope, she won't describe it real quickly. But what it is, it's Rotary in the time of COVID, and how do we cope with Rotary with all this change? As Tom says, there's some opportunities out there. So she will address how do you survive at the COVID time. And then that will be in track B starting in 12 minutes. And then tomorrow morning at 9:30 in track C, there will be a membership, and it's another one on COVID, but it is how do you thrive? And it takes the answers from presidents from across the state of Florida that are applying for a district governor COVID Survivor Award. They have all put in what they feel is going to be crucial to their success. And it's going through what they think is going well and the things that they're doing to really create that value for their members. That will be at 9:30 tomorrow morning. So stand up, move around, get things going.